All right, everybody, welcome in to Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn, at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, part of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network, and I am excited to be joined by my guy, Swipa. It is Weekends with Swipa here at the Pickaxe and Roll Mile High Sports YouTube channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the show. Appreciate all the love on the podcast. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. Swipe up, my guy. How you doing, man?
Doing well, man. It's gonna be a really good weekend, and yeah, man, I'm excited. Denver Nuggets are playing, Broncos are playing tomorrow night with a chance to get to 500 versus the Minnesota Vikings, and the Nuggets are gonna be playing at the exact same time. So, hey, let's get it. Can't wait.
Let's get it. It has been, and sometimes you need that perspective, especially when the Nuggets lose a random November game. Like, this was not just a random game because it was an in-season tournament game, but I know a lot of people were feeling some kind of way about it last night on Twitter. A lot of people were feeling pretty frustrated with what was going on. But everybody hit that like button. As I said before, make sure to support the channel. It helps us out tremendously. Had a nice video kind of blow up over this past 24 hours or so with a Jokic MVP kind of video that we did together. That was a lot of fun. Everybody go check that out. Swipe and I had a bunch of conversations. We uploaded one yesterday as well onto this channel. Shout out to Anila, who's doing all the back end editing work on that. Swipe and I have been cranking out the content, and if you want to see more, just make sure to continue to support it as best you can. That would be very, very cool. All right, Swipa, let's get into this game that just happened last night. Pretty frustrating loss in a couple of different ways. What was your primary takeaway from last night?
I gotta ask you a question to answer that question. Is that okay?
Sure.
I didn't care all that much, and I think like long term, there's always basketball X's and O's. The men's with Zeke Naji, they got decimated by Zion. Zion was a plus 21 in large part because of the bench unit minutes, just decimating the lineup they were playing. They had to put AG on him at one point consistently. He was attacking the rim. BI had a better game yesterday. Really, but this is the thing. Everything changes if the Nuggets don't feel like they got to force up 3 straight threes at the end of the game. Everything changes if Najee Marshall doesn't go 3 of 3 from 3 in the third quarter. And one of those, especially the one that got ricocheted back out and then he shot from the corner, if he doesn't make that, if Jokic makes one of his, but I think that for me, like, this is just basketball. Like, you lose randomly and you win randomly. As Michael's saying, Peyton Watson is still developing and other players are still developing. Michael Porter Jr. I think what was Mike? He was 1 of 7 yesterday from 3 or 1 of.
I thought he made 2. I thought he was like 2 of 6.
No, it was 2 of 6. So he was 2 of 6 yesterday. And yesterday, I think the Pelicans just earned a win. And I think for you, the question I have for you is, because they won a championship so dominantly, and I think because we know what they are within their bones of who they are, when they lose regular season November games, I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, sometimes the other team is going to have a better night, and that's just kind of what's happening. The Nuggets' floor right now is high, but their ceiling isn't as high because they don't have Jamal Murray. But I mean, they got down, 20 points, bro. But the Pelicans were shooting. They shot 52% from 3 yesterday, and it went down for what they were shooting over the course of the game. So, do you feel the same tension normally as you would like last year?
Well, couple of points. First is in-season tournaments, as we kind of talked about in a previous video yesterday. There is a feeling that these guys want to win it, that these guys want to play well, and when it's kind of that heightened awareness of an in-season tournament game, how much these kind of affect each of those results. I mean, Denver is now not in line to make the final bracket. They would be eliminated if things were to stop today. So it would not surprise me if everybody was a little bit frustrated about that, both on the interior and the exterior of the Nuggets team. And so that's one layer here. But to your point about the championship, like, I firmly agree that those expectations are going to be put on the Nuggets every single night. And they're going to be put on them every single night by not just the Nuggets and Nuggets fans,
Right.
but by other teams as well. And so they're going to get
Right.
every team's best punch. Like that's just how it's going to look like. And all of these teams have been pretty well dialed in when it
Right.
comes to playing against the Nuggets. Some of them have not shot that well, but lately it feels like a lot of teams are very focused. They're shooting well. They're making the Nuggets work, and it has been a challenge for Denver to get some of these wins as a result. So
Well, they were even the measuring stick for the Warriors. Like, and the Warriors have won 4 rings. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Every team, the Clippers, they played their best game. Now they won, obviously, yesterday versus the Rockets. The Rockets fans, after they won that game, you would have thought they were saying, like, this is like a championship for us. Like,
yeah,
Shingun held Jokic to 6 of 17 shooting. And then, Zubac has a good defensive performance because Jokic is missing jumpers. Like, they've just reached this point now. I mean, honestly, in the way Jokic is, like, similar to the Bulls or to Braun. It's just like, oh, Jokic, he's just like yesterday, the Pelican broadcast, bro. Jokic has 26, 16, and 18. No one's ever had that stat line before, right? And they're like, yeah, I think he's had a triple double in 7 of the last like 9 or 8 games versus the Pelicans. I got to go back and look at the game log.
yeah.
Uh,
So they know, but like this is
but,
not new
but
to them.
they said like that's just given. It's gonna happen.
yeah,
So I think that's the thing is they're champions without their second best player. But I see what these other teams are like. The Kings when they didn't have De'Aaron Fox were terrible. The Lakers when they don't have Braun, they're terrible. When even if the day comes where the 17ers don't have Maxey, which is their second best player, Boston without Jalen Brown and Kristoff, they still won versus the 76ers, but Embiid had the worst game of the year. So like teams that don't have their second best player, they typically aren't able to maintain this way. And the Nuggets have lost 2 of their last 3, but they've lost them like extremely close to hungry, hungry, hungry teams that are. And again, I said this before the game. The Pelicans are kind of desperate just because like they're 5-6 before yesterday. They want to get on a win streak. They want to start getting on a roll, and the best way to do it is versus the Denver Nuggets. And so you know what, like, and the Nuggets didn't even play defense in the first half, and then they locked in the second half. But you just can't get down 20 and then try to like hunt your way back. Go ahead.
and that's kind of my thing, though. Is like when you say things like the Nuggets didn't play defense in the first half, they locked in the second. To me, that is like that's indicative of the higher expectations that I have for the team now that everybody should have for the team right
Mm-hmm.
now. Especially, hey, you say you want to win the in-season tournament. Don't just not play defense in the first half. And that first quarter was an atrocity to all defense. It was horrible. They did
Well,
not
also
do
when the bench came in,
anything.
because Jokic, they were down 1 when Jokic left, and then they went on and like the final score of the first quarter was 36-28, I believe.
No, it wasn't just that though, because they allowed 27 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. And that was like the Pelicans were making their shots, but they were
Yeah,
getting into the paint over and over and over again. And when you're the Nuggets, like you gotta put up a stand at some point. And they did,
yeah.
and that's how they kind of got back into the game. That's how Jokic finished with a positive plus
Well,
minus.
to
And
be fair, the Pelicans had a 143 offensive rating in the first quarter, so like they were just like all time great in the first
sure,
quarter and all that stuff, right? So I think the Nuggets obviously didn't come out some with the requisite energy, but I think, but that's what I meant though. The Pelicans were playing with more intensity because they're in a more gregarious situation as a team. Like they have to. I
no,
think the
I agree.
Nuggets and the Nuggets, on the other hand, they just don't have a need to do that because they're not afraid. One of the Pelicans. This is where the Nuggets are. They're not afraid of the Pelicans. They believe that if they get down 20, they're coming back, and they did it again yesterday. But again, when you gamble that way, then you can have what happened yesterday, where you get to 1 and then you fall apart, and the game's over and it's +9. But I think that the biggest indictment of this is that the Nuggets, if they need to play serious versus a team they consider a serious like threat to them, then they dog wash you. Like, but that's just like, they put you on a leash and they clean it out, and then there you go, like you're locked up, and they keep moving from there. And the same thing with they like think about this, bro. They didn't even get like they took the Clippers game more serious. Because we'll talk about that, I
Yeah.
imagine, as well. But they ran 7 straight wedge possessions to end the game, and they were down 7. They were down 7, and then by the time Reggie Jackson went to the line, they were up 5. And it was a 5-minute marker. They were a plus 12 in those 5 minutes, and they scored 15 points on 7 straight actions. So
Oh yeah.
if they need to do it, they've shown they will do it. But yesterday didn't even feel like that. And on top of that, they ran a lineup, which I love, by the way. I love this lineup. It was KCP, Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
right out of
just
the that is right out of the swipe a play box right there. That
I
is
love
yeah.
lengthen defense, baby. I love it. But they were just one ball handler thing away, like one possession of ball handling away to getting into a nice pick and roll action, getting Jokic on a floater or getting to a mid range spot and picking out. And maybe, and I actually think KCP should be operating in that role more because I think he can do it. He's shown he can do it, but they just haven't developed the chemistry with KCP to do that consistently.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And look, uh, the loss last night does not change my opinion on how good the Nuggets are, nor should it change it for anybody. I think when the starters are out there, they have shown, and when they're all healthy together, they've shown that they're still the best unit in the league. Like
Right.
that I think is pretty clear based off of how the beginning of the season has gone. We will have some things to talk about with the bench, but I do think that there are some positive signs, some
Right.
negative signs from the bench that we can talk about in the second segment as well. Really quick, you brought up something about Nikola Jokic's shooting be prior to this
Yeah.
podcast, and I wanted you to share that with the
Can't
crowd.
believe you would out our private conversation like that, Ryan. Just can't believe that.
I'm gonna
Uh,
dox you every chance I get.
can you tell me the 3-point shooting in the last 5 games that you put in your article?
Yeah, so basically, last 5 games, including last night, Nikola Jokic, 8 of 35 from 3, which is 22.9%.
Yeah.
8 of 35, 7 attempts per game.
Right. Which, by the way, I love that Jokic is shooting that many threes over the course of the season. But I think subsequently, I think people that can give them some hope. Joker over the last 3 games, he's 27 of 27 from the free throw line after starting 70. He got down to 74%, I think is what it was.
Yeah, it was like
And
even like close to 70. That dude was not locked in from the free throw line at the beginning.
right. So I think that's like should give people some hope. It's like Joker was we've said this the other day on the Jokic video. He's been trolling this whole year, and it's not that he's like Willie like trying not to play well. It's just he's at a point now where it's like, okay, I'm not making my threes. Well, I'm just going to keep chucking them. And his free throws, he would get to the line, and we're just like, and that's why people were annoyed at me because he missed both. Who did he miss both free throws against, bro? Who was that? Warriors.
Yeah, it was the Warriors.
Right, and I put on the timeline, of course, you would miss both LOL, and people were like, no, it's not funny. It's not a laughing matter. What if they, and all the cost in the game? I said, bro, come on now. Like, this is game 8, game 12 now of the season from Joker. Who cares? Like, he's just getting the warts out, and his true shooting had dropped from a 69 to a 64.9. And again, so if you think that he's trying to be efficient right now, then no, like he's been efficient. But again, he shot 75% from 2 yesterday, by the way. So I just want to keep this in context. He made yesterday, he was 5-5 from the free throw line. He shot 75% within 2-point range.
Yeah.
Like Joker is just masterful right now. But I think right now, man, I think he's just trying to find some rhythm to the 3-point shot. And I think he's going to keep shooting him until he starts making them, and especially while Jamal Murray's out. Like, oh, and by the way, you better believe versus Cleveland and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, oh, he's chucking 3-point shots that game.
That's definitely true. Like he will not be going into the paint as much in that game. No, like I think for those that are concerned about Nikola Jokic's wrist, I know that has been a storyline that has popped up, and lots of people want to attribute bad percentages to the wrist and things like that. It's not the wrist. Jokic is fine. He will be okay. He will get after his career, he will get a wrist surgery that will repair that thing, and he will be better off for it at that point. But for now,
he'll be 40 by that point.
yeah, exactly. Like this is a long time off. But once he gets that repaired, he'll talk about how, oh yeah, no, during like pretty much during my entire career, I was dealing with a slightly painful wrist, and it might be more than slightly painful. I'm not gonna completely dismiss that out of hand, but he shot 100% over these last 3 games from the free throw line. He makes those shots when he locks in. He makes more threes. He makes 40% of his threes in the playoffs every year. Sometimes he is not as dialed in. Sometimes it
Mhm,
takes time for him to dial in. At the very
mhm.
beginning of the year against the Lakers, especially, he was dialed in from 3. and it sort of has fallen off since then, and he's trying to figure out how to get it. But I am not going to out of hand just say, oh yeah, the wrist is the reason why he's missing from three. I think focus is the reason why he's missing from three at times. And there are there are layers to his game that he is more focused on right now than just his 3-point shot. And like he's a supercomputer. He can handle way more things than I could even process in this early morning time. But like he is just like, I mean, he's a monster. We talked about his overall impact across the game. He had 18 assists, 16 rebounds, and 26 points last night. He is doing everything. I am going to give him a pass for the 3-point shooting. I am not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, he has to shoot well from three right now, because he doesn't. He's played mostly good defense. Last night was not great, but he even like upped his intensity in the second half and grabbed a whole heck of a lot of rebounds in the second half.
So did Aaron Gordon, by the way.
Yeah,
KCP played defense all game, good defense all game, and but Aaron Gordon was, some dumb fouls. Now that's also somebody too, like, bro. Yesterday, sometimes last few games too, like he's been dribbling the ball in the space or those pull up 3-pointers and stuff like that. I said, this is how I know AG is doing the same thing. AG also is not in full locked in playoff mode because AG doesn't do that in the playoffs. But in the regular season, early season, no Jamal. Let me just see if I can get my 3-point shot up. Now, I think the thing about Aaron Gordon that I'm like, bro, come on, you got to stop playing around. 50% from the line. He was 0-3 from the free throws yesterday.
If he makes all three, then they're tied.
Yeah, then it's or even two of them, and now it's a 1-point game. Now you get Jokic at the high key with a chance to win the game, and I'll take that over anybody else in the league.
Also, the final possession that they had, where Reggie, KCP, and Aaron Gordon all had opportunities at open threes.
Right.
Like, you don't have to take a three in that situation. I also didn't think that they had to take a three in that situation, even when they were down three, because they had 40 seconds left on the clock at the start of that possession. Just go get a two, go get another stop, and then go get another two, and you win. Like, that's I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal, but
that's what I'm saying. They didn't give the ball to Joker, which also goes to show you where they are mentally. The team is just like they're just
trying stuff.
Basketball. Yeah, they're just doing stuff, and that's fine. Like, and I think if they don't need to if again when they got some of these big games they got coming up, like the Suns, oh, you better believe they're going to be locked in, and they're going to give everything they have to win that game, and they probably will. But I'm saying that's just what they do. Like, they just turn it up just enough to hang around and then close the door versus line of mid-team. But when you're good, they're going to try to put 33 on you in the first quarter and keep you down at like 24, 20, 25. And then let that ride out with the bench, and then Joker comes back in the game. They do it again, go up double digits in the half, and then try to maintain that rest of the game. We know what this is. We know who they are.
I'm whatever you say. Like, on that December 1st game against Phoenix, 35, 15, and 15. That is the
stat and Murray will be back for that game. You better believe he's not missing that game.
Oh, he's probably not missing this Houston game at the end of this trip. So like, oh yeah, no, I think he'll probably play then. But yeah, we'll see.
Ryan Sharpburn with the inside analysis, y'all. The NBA writer with Mile High Sports, by the way.
On that note,
let's national podcast, by the way. What's your podcast?
Bro. Wow, I can't believe you asked. It's called The Alley-Oop with Ryan Blackburn. It's a fun, interesting, reporting-based, analysis-based podcast about the entire NBA from perspectives from all around the league. It's crazy. I didn't know that would come up in the show.
It's so interesting, y'all. The only person he didn't ask to join the podcast would be me. But
we actually, that is not true. That is not true. Everybody, let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to chat about the Christian Braun breakout game, as well as just what is going on with this Nuggets bench right now. What have we learned from this Nuggets bench right now? But first, everybody, this podcast, as you know, is brought to you by our good friends over at Superbook Sports. You can win a trip to the biggest football game of the year, courtesy of Superbook. They will fly you and a friend to Las Vegas for February's championship game. They will give you 2 tickets to that game, plus a 3-night hotel stay. All you have to do is place a $25 same game parlay between now and January 7th, and you will be automatically entered into a chance to win that awesome trip. So make sure to wager and win a super trip to Las Vegas courtesy of Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We'll be right back on Weekends with Swipa. And we're back. Pickaxe and roll. Ryan Blackburn here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This is Weekends with Swipa. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, whatever the lingo is for all of these different social media platforms. I basically, because there is so much to actually tell people to do, whether it's rate, review, and subscribe on the audio side of things, whether it's liking and subscribing on the YouTube channel, hit that bell notification for Mile High Sports. We actually did just cross 4,000 subs on the MHS YouTube. So pretty good stuff there. And we are excited to continue to grow the platforms for all of you.
Yeah. We just had a video popping off. Going to be at 30,000 by the weekend too.
Damn, man. That is, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. No, it was a great video. And we were absolutely blown away by the response. So thank you everybody for tuning into that one. Truth Teller says, Ryan, Swipa, Jokic is forced to take threes because Nuggets stopped running pick and roll for him to receive pocket pass at the free throw line. Why don't they run Reggie Joker pick and roll? Well, it's not that they just stopped doing it. Jokic has full autonomy of whatever they do. He is like everything. If he wants to run pick and roll, he will say, Reggie, come here. Here's this ball for you. I would like to run pick and roll in the middle of the floor, please. That is what would happen. And that is not happening.
See Reggie Jackson comes down the court. Say, Joker, come, whatever. All right. Yeah. No. But he does sometimes. But they did run it a couple times yesterday. But I think, but you got to remember, we talked about this a little bit, True Teller. They didn't have a point guard in at the end of the game because they were playing the 4-wing lineup with Joker, which typically dominates, by the way. But they just couldn't they were just one or two actions short for winning the game.
Yeah, like if they're tied at the end of the game as opposed to coming back, you might see them just run and span pick and roll. Like there were a couple of different things that they wanted to do. Most of the time, Joker just brought the ball up the floor, went into a post up or went into an isolation, or he would kick it out to a DHO with KCP. There was one with KCP that worked out really well.
Yeah.
And they spray the ball around and they're doing other things. So I am not worried. If they have run it with Reggie. They ran the pick and roll with Reggie in the Clippers game as well. They ran it in the Warriors game as well. Whether it's just a two-man actions, whether they're cutting back door when he's feeding off of the post, or if they're actually running just traditional pick and roll or DHO. They do a lot. Like they're just fine. So, look, Truth Teller, they are trying to generate threes, and the best way to generate threes is to put Joker in the post and force other people to double him. That's the best way. When you are down in a game, you are trying to generate threes as opposed to Jokic's most efficient shot. Like it's a different feel. So I'm not surprised.
I think Astrid, here's the thing I'll say about Astrid. And Nuggets have started picking on Jokic to bail them out all the time. Here's the thing. The Bulls ask Michael Jordan to bail them out every game. The Heat, the Cavs, they always ask LeBron to bail them out every game. The difference is that the Nuggets, when they're not at full capacity, well, let me say this. When the Nuggets are, one, not fully locked in to start the game, and they're not at full capacity, they don't have the ability to get up 7 and then get up 12 by the half. And that way, they basically try to maintain dominance, and they're spreading the ball around. And what Joker does, Joker closes the door because that's typically what your best shot makers do. But guess what? When they have Jamal Murray on the court, you have two players that close the door as scorers and playmakers. And so when you did have an opportunity to go Jamal Murray funnels on a pick and roll, kick it out to KCP or MPJ or whatever, that's how they close the door. They close the door as a team, but their team is just not the same right now since they don't have Jamal. And like Dijon, yeah, absolutely, Nola didn't have key players, but, Trey Murphy and who else were they missing yesterday? Trey Murphy.
CJ McCollum. But like one of the reasons that CJ McCollum doesn't matter as much for them is like Zion and Brandon Ingram. Like you want the ball in their hands. You do not want the ball in CJ McCollum's hands at the end of the game. Like that's just like, why would they want that?
Right. But that's also been a part of the issue is that they've had trying to figure out how to make it work. And I'm actually really happy for the Pelicans, because the Pelicans now, they're forcing their two best players to play together, and they both
Yep.
have played better as of late. And they haven't played a lot of games together, right? I don't know. I don't even know if they played with this year included. I think they just crossed 20 games played together, if not 25 games played together. And in a year and a half, they've been together.
That's insane. That's disgusting, actually.
Right.
Like that's the thing. Like Denver's facing good teams. They don't get to face the Eastern Conference every day. Like they, especially for this in-season tournament, they have to face Western Conference teams and
Right.
even like lower tier matchups like New Orleans. Like New
Look,
Orleans is giving Denver issues every time they go to New Orleans.
bro,
Every single time.
I said this yesterday, bro. I said if people thought I was playing, I said if Jose Alvarado they're losing, and they're like, bro, you're not taking this shit. I'm like, I'm not kidding.
Oh,
He had
dead
38 points
serious.
last game.
Absolutely. No, that's
It's like Ish Smith back in the day, and Rashawn Holmes versus us. We couldn't stop those players.
it's just Ish Smith on copious amounts of cocaine. Like that is he's unbelievable. Like I love watching Jose play. He is a lot of fun to watch. All right, hey, let's chat about the bench, but we got to start with Christian Brown, who
Yeah,
this was like we haven't mentioned him a ton. 25 points, 9
yeah,
rebounds, 3 assists in this last game. 25 is
yeah.
a crazy number. That's a career high for Christian. Just what did you
Right.
see from him that you really liked in this one?
I saw a dude that, bro. I said it. I said it yesterday on Lockdown Nugget. I said the way I would get this started again is to get Christian Brown's confidence up. I'm running Jalen Pickett. Done. They did it. KCP done. Christian Brown done. And then have AG at the 4, and then have Jokic at the 5. That way, CB doesn't have to worry about defending as much, and now he can worry about being an offensive player. And look what happened. Jalen Pickett gets in the game, helps to create. CB was attacking the rim. He was 3 of 5 from 3 yesterday. He was distributing the ball. He was aggressive, and he was confident. That's all CB just is. It's like it's not even a 3-point shot. 3 of 5. That's not going to happen a lot.
I mean,
But his,
that was really nice to see though. And some of the
right.
shots that he did take, they were confident and they were
Mhm.
in rhythm, taken with confidence. And I just that was the part that I was
Right.
most impressed with. But the other stuff just all lining up together at the same time, that made for a career night.
He had 9 rebounds yesterday too. I mean, after
Mhm.
Malone said having 1 rebound is not enough. So really shout out to him, man. He is just such an energy player. And again, when his confidence gets there, when he's older, like when he gets like to year 4, year 5, like he's just gonna be like a KCP level player. I think it's just that like I think when you're young and you're not shooting well and you're trying to figure out like how do I make this work offensively. Look, man, Christian had a really good game yesterday. You know how I feel about him. He's Alex Caruso with great hair. I think Christian's going to be a really good NBA player the rest of his career, and I was really excited to see what he does. And he is so wildly explosive and aggressive and attacking the rebounds. That's one of the great things about Christian. Like he'll jump over you if he can. He'll bang with Zion. He'll bang with anybody,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think that's just what makes him so good.
He took 19 shots yesterday.
Yeah,
Like that's to me, that's nuts. His previous, like, so 11 was the career high that he had in the regular season last year. Playoffs was 8. Before, like this year,
yeah,
like just going through his game logs, the most shots he had taken in a game was 9. He took 19. That's a big difference, folks. Like
right.
11 was his previous career high. Now he's taken 19 shots, and I think he's being like he has been empowered a little bit more to be aggressive. He has been empowered a little bit more to just continue pushing forward. Uh,
Why is MPJ the mark for so many people with it?
I
And
don't
again,
know. Like truth teller, you got to get in line, dude. Like this team won a championship last year. Please stop complaining every time. Like what
But
is
but
going
I'm
on?
but I'm saying, but
Yeah.
look, listen. So even online yesterday, really good friend, really good basketball dude. He said MPJ might get traded or whatever. I'm just like, why is MPJ the one always getting? He had 18 and 10 yesterday. It's like
Yeah.
I don't understand. And guess what? Who was second on the team in plus minus in the playoff last year? It was Porter. So
Yeah.
like this is what I'm trying to understand. I think Porter just gets like he's been really good this year for a majority of the season. So I don't know, man. I think CB in his on his best day, his best ever effort he'll ever give in basketball will never be a better basketball player than Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
So I think
I
that's
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for CB to really kind of crack that. But this is this is a good problem to have where
right.
when Christian Brown plays this well, you can at least start asking those questions. Hey, is he the right guy to close this game? I thought
Right.
early in the season when he closed against Utah, that was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Tonight, it would have been, I think, perfectly fine for him to close the game. I didn't think that Mike had a good game. I thought that he kind of floated, and I thought that some of like he did get 18 and 11. There were some good rebounds that he had, but there were also some bad defensive possessions as there
Yeah, he got too
frequently
high on
are.
the Brandon Ingram and all that stuff.
Yeah, like that's
Like,
going to happen, but
yeah.
this isn't a good team for him to guard. Like there's no player for him to really guard in this situation because Ingram doesn't like he. Maybe they should have put him on Ingram a little bit more, but KCP did a pretty good job. I don't want to just
Well,
dismiss that
and,
out of
and
hand.
two, if we're pointing out players making a lot of money on the Nuggets not having great numbers, well, I got something to tell you. Jamal Murray's averaging 16, 2, and 7 on 54 true shooting to start the year off. So,
Hey,
there's
I
a clear.
well, let's slow that because the seventh
No,
game he
yeah,
played
no, he
10.
went out. But I'm
Yeah,
saying he went
seventh
out
game he
when
played
he had
10
two
total
goals and
minutes.
2 assists. But I think some
Yeah.
of this is players just have ebbs and flows. The only person that does this the whole season is Joker. Giannis doesn't do this. Steph doesn't do this. Braun doesn't do this. Who else is there? Kawhi. Any Luca. Luca doesn't do this. Embiid doesn't do this. This is Joker the entire season, and then he gets to the playoffs and it goes like this. So that's what I mean. It just doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. is a borderline all-star level player that is just has really, really freaking good stretches, and then he has some games that are not great. But CB had a really good game yesterday, and I think that was the most impressed I've been with him. He had a 13, 7, and 7 game versus OKC. And I think this is his best game. I think, and then the Warriors game, I think, if it was the no one the Warriors game, he had 10 points last game, I believe. So,
Yeah.
he's had some good stretches this year.
He's had some good stretches, and I would like to see him continue to sustain this, to continue to stay aggressive, find
Right.
those cutting lanes every time you can. Always be searching for the opportunity to score. And I think that too often Christian has not looked to score. He has looked to, okay, we're gonna bring the ball out because there's not a lane here. I think Christian has to create the lane in a lot of times with his ball handling, with his dribbling, with his
Right.
creativity. He also the offensive rebound that he had over Herb Jones and Jonas Valanciunas last night, and then the finish on the other side of the rim was disgusting. Like
It, it,
he is capable of doing this
right.
stuff.
That was great, bro. By the way, is Jonas the ultimate, like, I'm playing versus Joker, let me give my best effort possible game? And that corner three he hit, like, I was just like, oh, no way. Jonas. I love Jonas. Jonas with this, like, over the head set shot.
That is a trebuchet right there.
With knee pads on. I'm just like, oh my gosh, bro. No way you made that.
Jonas is shooting 39% from three this year.
He's really
He's
good three-point shooter. At one point last year, he was leading the NBA at 46%. So
yeah,
he's been a good shooter, but it's just the rhythm, and it's like when it happens, it's like, bro, you stop everything else, and then here comes Jonas with this ultimate salve.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely one of those things that you are not thinking about stopping in the moment, and then it happens, and you're like, "Crap, that was the last thing I was really on my
He's
on
a
my list
big
of things
dude
to
too,
stop."
bro. Like I
Oh
think,
yeah,
and it needs to be given. Like the West got some bigs. Jonas isn't even a top 10 center in the West for I think for a lot of people, and he's a really good player. Like, and he's a very strong player as well. So I don't know, man. The West just got like it's just way better than the East, bro. Like they got so many bigs, and then you don't even consider Steven Adams isn't playing. Jonas isn't great. Kelly Walker Kessler is a good center, and they're struggling to win games. So like the West got it, bro. Like man, there's just a lot of good bigs in the West.
a lot of good bigs, a lot of great talent across and like I'm going to face Victor Wembanyama after this road trip, so there will be plenty of opportunities to face even against the worst teams in the NBA. They're going to find some
Well, you
opportunities
mean
there. So
that does MPJ over under MPJ dunk on Zach Collins leads to another fight? Over under one fight that game.
stake the over. Let's just have some fun. All right, let's wrap up this segment really quick with I'm watching Zeke Naji right now with the side eye. I am watching what's going on with him. I'm watching him not play in the second half because he couldn't play in the first half in several games. I do the rotation charts. You know this. The most common rotation the Nuggets have right now is for Aaron Gordon to play the backup five in
Yeah,
the second half because Zeke Naji struggled with it in the first half.
yeah.
And that is not good enough. The Nuggets just extended him. They just gave him this prove it contract and said, "Hey, look, We believe in you. We believe in your ability to do this. This is what you have to do. Get it done." And there have just been like he had a 0-0-0-0-0 game last night. Like in only 4 minutes. I don't want to like look. It wasn't exactly a ton of time,
Right.
but in the time that he did have, couple fouls was got an and one on him against Zion, two turnovers, couple missed shots, including a missed layup in transition. Like the dude is not playing well right now, and I am watching that, wondering when is this turnaround going to happen because the Nuggets have given him chances.
I feel like it's more appropriate with Jamal Murray, though. I think that since he's kind of taken a little bit of a slide, I think when there's not Jamal on the court with like MPJ, or there's just no offensive value for real. He's not a confident shooter right now. He's not a good post player. I think he's a better play finisher, like as a vertical spacer, but like they're not throwing him lobs. And then he's a switch big. He's not necessarily a pound, like, like get down in the paint and like guard up. And again, he played versus Zion. He had no answer for that yesterday, and they kept going at him in the minutes that he wasn't on the court. So I think some of this is Zeke is just having, similar to Christian Brown, some confidence issues. Um, but they also, like I said, this Reggie Jackson makes $5 million a year. Zeke Naji makes $8 million a year per the poison pill. So you have to trade him based on what is the value of his deal and stuff is. So they didn't have any other tradable contracts, and so if something were to happen, they want to get a player, then it's probably going to be around one of those two players. But I think there's several reasons why they re-signed him. They do believe in him. They do believe in his development. But I think too, they just needed to have somebody on the roster to be able to do certain things as well. So I'm not like, when Jamal comes back and this keeps up and he keeps doing this, then I think we'll have a different discussion. But he was playing good to start the year, and then he just kind of been in the slump.
Yeah, it's just what is good for Zeke is not
The Memphis game,
like
he had 0 rebounds, but he was dominating on the glass.
I agree with you. And there are things that if you squint hard enough and you take a closer look, you can see, okay, Zeke is making an impact in some categories. But in all of the small ball categories, especially like as a small ball five, the dude has to be able to shoot. Like if you're 6'9" and you're struggling to finish around the rim against bigger players at the rim, I'm not going to bemoan that. I don't think that that's a problem. I think that
Right,
that kind of should be expected. Like he's not the greatest athlete in the world. He is not the biggest vertical spacer, and
right.
so you need to be able to space the floor. Why the Nuggets have not been popping him, to me, that says like I got an answer from David Adelman at one point that says, "Oh, there's not really space for him to pop right now, like because of the way the Nuggets are running their playbook, he has to roll." I don't believe that. I think that if they really wanted him to be a pick and pop guy, then they would have turned him into that. They don't believe in his jump shot right now either.
No,
And
but
like
ever since that hit she put in his jump shot a couple years ago, it's just I don't know what it is. Like it's not even confidence. It just doesn't even look like a fluid motion going to the basket, man. So I don't know, man. I don't know what happened to. It's almost like a Markel Fultz situation with his jump shot. It's just like got bad all of a sudden.
it's frustrating. And like to me, he kind of encompasses the struggles that the Nuggets bench has because
Right.
whenever he's on the floor, it is no joker. In 11 of his 12 games, the Nuggets have not had a positive plus minus.
Well, yeah, I mean but I think some of that is a little skewed just because like, yeah, I mean you're playing versus LeBron, AD, and all them versus the bench because they're like, all right, we're not going to win the Joker minutes. Zion was playing versus the bench because they're not going to win the Joker minutes. So
Sometimes, like
let's do that.
I agree
So
with that. I do get it, but there are also a lot of times where Aaron is now staggering, and there's a lot of times where whether Mike is staggering at the beginning of second
but they don't.
quarters and
But
fourth
even
quarters.
yesterday though, like what offense? Like Mike is still playing an off ball role, and Aaron Gordon didn't make great decisions with the ball yesterday when he was trying to be a primary creator and all that stuff. So again, a lot of this stuff is murky because the team just isn't whole. But I will say this is that Zeke Naji ain't gonna play in the playoffs. So that's not happening. Zeke Naji just need to play in the regular season and not be a double digit minus every game. But I think some of this is just the roster was so young, relying so heavily on you. It was gonna be this way. But Ryan, we said this going into the year. This was a possibility. It's gonna be this way, probably through the first 30 games of the year. 40.
No, I'm with you. When he signed that extension, did you expect him to play in the playoffs?
No.
Okay, then that's I think probably like you're in the right frame of mind then where it wasn't just an automatic expectation. Hey, we're going to trust you as kind of our seventh, eighth, ninth man in a playoff rotation. because that it may not happen, and
Would you
Denver
rather
may
have
not.
him or Jock Landale? Because I can tell you what Rockets fans would say about Jock.
I mean, I'd probably rather have Jock just because you're going to
Can't
get.
switch at all.
I
No
think.
offensive bag whatsoever, by the way.
Well, in a playoff setting, what do you need? What do you need in a playoff setting? Because if
A switch big, a 6'9" plus switch big.
but you just said he's not going to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm saying, but not with Jock. Jock wouldn't play on this team in the playoffs.
But Jock would
Jock,
roll.
Jock
He
had a
would he
4
would
year.
he would be a good pick and roll partner with Jamal Murray, for
Do
example.
what?
Like, no, I think so. I think it would be
He's
just
not even
fine.
a finisher. Like, he doesn't even. That's what I'm saying. Like, the reason he's not playing for the Rockets is that he's not finishing well, and he also doesn't have a jump shot. So he's just out there next to Jeff Green and these, already condensed lineups that have no spacing around it and stuff. So Jock makes. I'm saying, but the reason I brought it up, Jock makes the same deal. It's a 4-year, 32 deal, but they also aren't playing him a lot because he just has not been functional with what they're doing so far. So maybe he
Now
gets better.
they have more depth, especially in their front court. So Denver kind of has to play Zeke because they can't really play DeAndre consistently. Like he's not athletic enough, and we've seen calls for Jay Huff from the comment section. Jay Huff is fine. He's also on.
How would you feel if they got James Wiseman?
What would I do?
I mean, would you want them to have a player like James, like just a big, massive,
No,
rebounding vertical spacer?
no, because his operating speed is not fast enough to play at a Nuggets style. Like it just isn't.
Okay.
Like he would not be able to do that. There are
Right.
guys that would, like Kelly Olynyk of the Utah Jazz would. Like he would be great in this system. I don't think that they could get him, but there are players that they could go out and get.
By the
I
way, I
want
just got an update from NBA.com that Nikola Jokic is in the front running to win the in-season tournament MVP award. Well, he wins in-season tournament, regular season, finals MVP award. So wait, in-season tournament, regular, the Michael Jordan MVP award, the Magic Johnson MVP award, and then the Bill Russell MVP award. Oh, and then the All-Star game, but that's not happening.
That's not happening. That dude is scoring 6 points on 3 shots. And
No,
they're
we do
all
wanna-
3 going to be layups.
When we get to the All-Star, we do need to do a draft, like a live draft together.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be so much fun to do that. Hey, I know the comment section would love that.
We should do it from the perspective of the players, just like
Right.
what they will do, as opposed to
Yeah.
what we would do. That'd be
Right.
funny. By the way, Dylan, no, we are not bringing back DeMarcus Cousins. That's not happening. Please,
No,
please never say that name again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, he said Joker was not able to win 3 straight MVPs because that would put him in GOAT conversation. And so we don't
fuck with that guy. All right. Is what it is. Let's take one more quick break before we preview next week. We will be right back. But first, everybody, let's hear from Good Morning Broncos.
Hey everyone, this is Cody Rourke, Denver Broncos beat reporter from Mile High Sports. I want to tell you, make sure every single weekday at 9 o'clock a.m., Monday through Friday on Mile High Sports YouTube page, you catch Good Morning Broncos, your daily bite-sized Broncos conversation that you can have with a cup of coffee as we prepare you for all things that are going on with the Denver Broncos in season, out of season, all the storylines, all the drama. Subscribe on the Mile High Sports YouTube page.
Shout out to Cody Rourke, who's fighting the good fight. I believe me, this is shaping up to be a Nuggets loss or a Broncos loss because they are giving their fans hope. They're giving Broncos fans hope by getting back to 500.
Well, they're minus 2.5 tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, they're probably favored.
Wait, wait. Let's do a small minus 2.0. So not a great favorite, but Minnesota's been playing well. Wait, let's do last couple minutes on the pot. Do you think the Broncos win, or what do you think the final score will be tomorrow?
Man, gosh, it's just so hard to tell sometimes with this team. Like there are things that I would like for them to be able to do more consistently. I like Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs has been playing really, really well.
Really well.
And I think Justin Jefferson's coming back. So
Patrick Surtain. I'm not really too worried about that perspective.
They've got other guys. They've got who was the other receiver on their
Jordan
team?
Addison and TJ Hawkinson.
I mean, good lord! Like if they got those guys as well, like they could just avoid Pat Surtain the entire time and still be throwing to awesome pass catchers. So
I mean,
Look, I think the Broncos lose. I think they probably lose.
at
Um,
home.
yeah, and the reason for that is not like it's because it is the right storyline. It's just what is going to happen because Denver has been fighting back really hard. They play so much better over the course of the
Sean, we're both from Denver. Just let us
yeah.
have this moment.
Let us cook for 60 seconds here. They 5-5. It would be so meaningful to the fan base if they could get above 500 right now, and they're not going to. Like, just that's just
This
how
is
it's gonna
this is a Ryan Blackburn tweet, by the way. Don't believe anything he's saying. We know what he's doing. He's trying to reverse jinx it.
go.
Everybody's familiar with your game, Ryan.
That's true. I don't think I threw out a reverse jinx yesterday. I don't think I did. I was just so like
I,
annoyed.
yeah, yeah. You got a tweet in the fourth quarter that said the game's over or something like that. So yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I sometimes like people can't distinguish between when I just say this is truly what's going to happen versus like this is truly how I feel versus this is a reverse
People
jinx.
think that you're a troll on Twitter, Ryan. So you have your charts and then you have troll Ryan.
Yeah, they're both important. Okay, Nuggets. Let's wrap up here. Next 4 games are all on the road. We're gonna finish up with this road trip. Play a back-to-back on Sunday and Monday at Cleveland and at Detroit. Then they go to Orlando on Wednesday, and then Friday they wrap up in the in-season tournament against the Houston Rockets. That is a must-win game if Denver wants to advance in the in-season tournament. If they don't, if this is not something that they care about, then it is just the end of a road trip. But it's also the end of the road trip after Thanksgiving, so they will be. That's going to be tough, like for a lot of folks, especially folks from here.
So I'll predict this. Like I did, I told you the Pelicans game was going to be the worst game just because of the way they play or whatever. It's going to be a win in Cleveland. It's going to be win versus Detroit, a loss versus Orlando, win versus Houston. Cleveland, man, that's just one of those teams, bro, where it's like they should be a lot better than what they are. KCP versus Donovan Mitchell, I feel very good about. Christian Brown, very good about. Peyton Watson, very good about. Even Reggie Jackson. Detroit, they suck. They're terrible. They're terrible. They're running a no spacing lineup with Cade Cunningham, who needs as much spacing as possible around him. Makes no sense. But again, they're just developing like Jalen Duren and apparently Killian Hayes again for the upteen time. And Asar is just an amazing defender. He can't shoot the ball at all, though. But of course, he's going to score his first 20-point game of his season versus the Denver Nuggets. I know what's coming.
Right. That'd be fun.
I think Orlando's going to win that game just because it's hard to play in Orlando for the Nuggets. They got a lot of length. They got a lot of size. They lost last year. I think Aaron Gordon had 38 points that game in Orlando last season, and they didn't have Jamal that game, just like they didn't have Jamal versus the Bucks game when AG dropped 33, and Jokic didn't play that game either. So I think that's going to be a really tough game, and then Jamal Murray might come back for the Houston game to close it out. But I think they're going to put I'm not saying they're going to beat the brakes off Houston, but I think they'll win by +5.
Yeah, I so it's funny when you brought up what we thought would happen last week. I actually do remember saying 2-2 to you over last week. I think I felt pretty good about. I think they went 2-2.
Who did they lost? They lost to the Rockets, and who did they beat? They beat
the Warriors and the Clippers.
When did they play the Warriors?
Didn't they play the Warriors like towards the beginning of that, or was that last week? I don't remember.
They played the Warriors on the 8th on Wednesday, so we only had 3 games to talk through. That was the Rockets, the Clippers, and the Pelicans.
Oh yeah, gosh, what was I thinking? Oh, I was saying 2-2 with this Cleveland game because we didn't know when we were going to record this.
Right.
Okay, so they're 1-2 right now. Not really surprised if we're being honest. I think that they do beat the Cavs here. I think they do beat the Pistons, and like you said, I think they lose to the Magic, and I think they beat Houston. Like that would be my prediction for this upcoming week. I think that this team is really good at bouncing back from losses. They've shown the willingness and the ability to bounce back from losses and put forth a better effort in the next game. And I think
any meaningful break between games.
Yeah, exactly. Like they are horrible when it comes to, hey, you get multiple days off in between these games, you get out of rhythm for whatever reason. They have just really struggled with that. But no, I think that they will, like, they see all the stuff. They see us talking about the road is just not very kind to Denver, and and they just it doesn't feel like they're taking it seriously. They'll take it serious, and they will. They'll beat Cleveland and Detroit. They'll lose in Orlando because they always lose in Orlando, and then they will beat Houston when Jamal comes back.
Oh, Wendell Carter Jr. I don't think he's been playing. I just felt a feeling he'll be back that game. His injury he has right now?
I don't know, but even if he's out, Mo Wagner will give Jokic buckets. That dude is going off. There's no doubt. They've been playing Jonathan Isaac at backup center a little bit, so shout out to Jonathan Isaac, I guess.
Wait, he's out for 3 weeks. So that was said on the 4th. By the time they play, it's going to be
3 weeks.
Only 20 seconds. So
Dude, welcome back, Wendell. Here's Joker. Like, good lord, that's a tough assignment.
That might be a legitimate bad shooting game from Joker, just because of the amount of length he's going to have to see, but probably not though. This fighting, he actually dominates the Cavaliers front two. They're between Mobley and Allen, but yeah.
When Kevin Love was there, like they actually had a couple of games, like with that trio especially, where Jokic struggled and the Nuggets struggled to get him the ball. I don't think they're really struggling to get him the ball now because like they're not having Facu and Monte Morris and Will Barton try to deliver him the ball. They've got these taller dudes who are way better at kind of making that happen. So I think that they will be okay. I think
my biggest memory is Lauri Markkanen 2 years ago, early season, dunking on Joker. But the only reason it wasn't on ESPN one highlight was because I think Embiid dunked on Jared Allen that same day or something. So everybody forgot about the Lauri Markkanen Joker dunk.
Dude, that was I try to block that out from my mind. Like that I try not to remember.
Take a charge to Lauri Markkanen full speed down the lane.
That dude is really good. Lauri is really, really good. And Joker just like he was like, I think I could get away with this, and he just yammed on him. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's fun, man. Like I think they'll be all right. I think that Jamal will come back towards the end of this trip. And like he may not be ready, but if he is ready or at least close to ready, then he's going to try to give it a go in that final in-season tournament game because as we've talked about, these guys do care about it. They may not play well, but they do care about it for sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun week, bro.
Going to be fun. But I think, folks, that is going to do it for that episode of Weekends with Swipa. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We're not doing the outro music because it screws up the audio every single time we try to do this. So we're not going to do the outro music. Swipe is just going to have to dance on his own. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the show. Any last parting thoughts, Swipe it before we get out of here?
Man, you know what? 4 straight MVP season for Joker on the way. Jamal Murray will be back soon. And the Nuggets are, by the time December through early March rolls around, they're going to go on some crazy run because they do that every year. And they're going to be like, all right, okay, well, I guess we shouldn't have been worried about the early season. And then the end of March, it won't matter just because it's like they're just going to be that good. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I need a Michael Porter masterclass in Cleveland or Detroit. That has to happen. Like let's just see if he puts up 35 plus in one of those games. I think he's capable, and I think he's starting to get back into it. But we need to see that for sure. Like if that happens, then everybody will feel tremendously better. Right. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the show. We will be back next weekend, but we've also got some upcoming YouTube videos on the MHS YouTube channel. Make sure to like those. Make sure to go see the Swipe It Cam YouTube channel and make sure to go see the Alley-Oop with Ryan Blackburn. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys next week.